Slum Living in Megacities, Addressing the Housing Crisis. Title: Slum Living in Megacities, Addressing the Housing Crisis. Introduction. Word count: 150. The rapid growth of megacities in recent decades has led to a severe housing crisis, resulting in the proliferation of slum living conditions. Slums are characterized by overcrowding, inadequate infrastructure, lack of basic services, and substandard housing. This article aims to shed light on the challenges associated with slum living in megacities and explore potential solutions to address the housing crisis. The magnitude of the housing crisis. Word count: 300. Megacities are experiencing unprecedented urbanization, attracting millions of people in search of better opportunities. However, the influx of people far exceeds the capacity of cities to provide adequate housing, leading to the development of slums. According to the United Nations, approximately 1 billion people live in slums worldwide, with this number expected to double by 2030. Slum living conditions. Word count: 400. Slum dwellers face numerous challenges, including substandard living conditions. The housing units in slums are often makeshift, lacking proper ventilation, sanitation facilities, and running water. Families are forced to live in small and cramped spaces, igniting health and safety concerns. Additionally, slum areas are usually unserviced, with limited access to quality education, healthcare, and reliable infrastructure, exacerbating social inequalities. Health risks and socioeconomic impact. Word count: 400. Living in slums poses severe health risks. Inadequate sanitation and limited access to clean water promote the spread of diseases, including cholera, typhoid, and respiratory infections. Overcrowding and inadequate waste management contribute to the prevalence of vector-borne diseases, such as malaria and dengue fever. Barriers to addressing the crisis. Word count: 300. There are significant barriers to resolving the housing crisis faced by slum dwellers. Limited financial resources, inadequate urban planning, and political complexities hinder the implementation of effective solutions. Furthermore, the uncertainty of land rights and the prevalence of informal settlements frequently impede any progress in improving living conditions. Some potential solutions include: 2. Increasing affordable housing. Governments need to invest in the construction of low-cost housing units, ensuring they are accessible to the urban poor. Subsidies and incentives can be provided to encourage private sector involvement in constructing affordable housing. 3. Land tenure regularization. Formalizing land rights and providing secure tenure for slum dwellers can incentivize investment in housing improvements and community development. 4. Promoting participatory planning. Engaging slum dwellers in the decision-making process and ensuring their voices are heard can lead to more inclusive urban development plans. This approach helps align solutions with the needs and aspirations of the community. Addressing the housing crisis related to slum living in megacities is crucial for the well-being and sustainable development of cities. The rapid growth of megacities has resulted in overcrowding and inadequate infrastructure, leading to the proliferation of slums. These slums are characterized by substandard housing, lack of basic services, and limited access to education and healthcare. The magnitude of the housing crisis is substantial, with approximately 1 billion people currently living in slums worldwide. This number is expected to double by 2030, highlighting the urgency of finding effective solutions. The challenges faced by slum dwellers are numerous, with substandard living conditions being a significant issue. Housing units in slums are often makeshift and lack proper ventilation, sanitation facilities, and running water. Families are forced to live in small and cramped spaces, which raises health and safety concerns. Furthermore, slum areas are typically unserviced, with limited access to quality education, healthcare, and reliable infrastructure, which exacerbates social inequalities. Living in slums also poses severe health risks. Inadequate sanitation and limited access to clean water contribute to the spread of diseases such as cholera, typhoid, and respiratory infections. Overcrowding and inadequate waste management contribute to the prevalence of vector-borne diseases like malaria and dengue fever. The socio-economic impact of slum living is significant as well, as it perpetuates a cycle of poverty. The lack of suitable housing and social services further marginalizes residents, limiting their access to employment opportunities and social mobility. However, several barriers hinder the resolution of the housing crisis faced by slum dwellers. Limited financial resources, inadequate urban planning, political complexities, and uncertain land rights contribute to the difficulties in implementing effective solutions. Informal settlements also pose a challenge to improving living conditions. To address the crisis, a multifaceted approach involving collaboration between governments, international organizations, and local communities is essential. Some potential solutions include upgrading existing slums to improve infrastructure, sanitation, and housing quality, while long-term solutions are developed. Governments should also invest in constructing affordable housing units, ensuring accessibility for the urban poor. Subsidies and incentives can encourage private sector involvement in constructing affordable housing. Formalizing land rights and providing secure tenure for slum dwellers can incentivize investment in housing improvements and community development. Additionally, promoting participatory planning by involving slum dwellers in decision-making processes can lead to more inclusive urban development plans that align with the needs of the community. While it is important to address the housing crisis, it is equally crucial to focus on long-term solutions to prevent the growth of slums in megacities. This requires tackling the root causes, such as rapid urbanization, lack of affordable housing, and inadequate urban planning. By investing in sustainable urban development, governments can create inclusive cities that provide adequate housing for all residents. Moreover, addressing the housing crisis goes hand in hand with improving access to basic services and infrastructure in slum areas. It is important to prioritize the provision of clean water, sanitation facilities, healthcare, and education in these communities. By doing so, we can improve the quality of life for slum dwellers and uplift them out of poverty. The role of international organizations in addressing the housing crisis should not be underestimated. They can provide technical expertise, funding, and policy support to aid governments in implementing effective solutions. Collaboration between governments, international organizations, and local communities is crucial for achieving sustainable and inclusive development. Slum living in megacities is a critical issue that demands immediate attention. The housing crisis arising from the rapid growth of these cities has resulted in the proliferation of slums. Slums are characterized by substandard housing conditions, lack of basic services, and limited access to education and healthcare. The living conditions in slums are deplorable, with makeshift housing units lacking proper ventilation, sanitation facilities, and running water. Families are often forced to reside in small, cramped spaces, raising concerns about health and safety. In addition, slums suffer from a lack of infrastructure, education facilities, and healthcare services, exacerbating social inequalities and perpetuating poverty. The health risks associated with slum living are severe. Limited access to clean water and sanitation facilities contributes to the spread of diseases such as cholera, typhoid, and respiratory infections. Overcrowding and inadequate waste management also lead to the prevalence of vector-borne diseases like malaria and dengue fever. Slum living perpetuates a cycle of poverty as well, with limited access to suitable housing and social services, hindering residents' employment opportunities and social mobility. There are several barriers to addressing the housing crisis faced by slum dwellers. Limited financial resources, inadequate urban planning, and political complexities pose significant challenges in implementing effective solutions. Moreover, the uncertain nature of land rights and the prevalence of informal settlements impede progress in improving living conditions. To tackle the housing crisis, a comprehensive approach involving collaboration between governments, international organizations, and local communities is needed. Some potential solutions include upgrading existing slums to enhance infrastructure, sanitation, and housing quality, while long-term solutions